Welcome back to Watchtime, your weekly download on everything pop culture, gaming, YouTube, all of that. This week, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, how COVID is affecting our lives because hashtag 2020, it's affecting all of us, and basically what it's meant for everyone on YouTube and the release of Valorant, everything. But yeah, Elliot, how's your week been?
Pretty good. Just another week in quarantine, aka not really doing that much. Although it's weird how I guess my daily routine hasn't really changed. I've started biking into the office every day, so
Guys, Elliot bought
cool.
How much did your bike cost? Fess up.
It was like $4,000 Australian, so that's like what, two and a half, $3,000 US.
That's ridiculous.
It's like
why did you buy a bike? Like, what compelled you to buy a bike?
Okay,
about
to
quarantine?
clarify, it's an e-bike, so it is like half motorbike, half bike. It's like powered. It's got, so it like helps you. It makes you go faster. I don't know. I remember thinking that, you know, I was doing a really good job at quarantining, going between home and the office, except for Ubers, where, you know, kind of that was the chink in the armor. So
are you actually worried though? Like, are you worried about contracting it?
No, I wasn't as worried about contracting it. It was more just, you know, really kind of thinking about the fact that, you know, number one, as much as I'm not worried about contracting it, not wanting to spread it, but also just the fact that I feel like, you know, if things got really bad, this was like 3 weeks ago when things were like in like the peak, you know, and I was like, oh, if we go into like lockdown, then, you know, even Uber could reasonably stop working. At which point, then I kind of need like a backup, you know? So I was like, bike.
Because there is no other backup. Elliot does not drive.
I do not drive. So it would have been a very long walk, or it would have been, yeah.
How's it affected YouTube stuff? Because I feel like that's something that I saw a lot of people asking. Is it really good being a YouTuber during these times? Is it bad? Because I don't know. I feel like I saw a bunch of articles this week about how YouTube is the most COVID-proof job and it's the best time to be a gamer because you're doing what you have been preparing to do your whole life. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it played out literally exactly the way that we thought it would. I think the way we were talking about, you know, like a week or 2 weeks ago, where everyone's views are up by about 30%, but everyone's kind of
That's
CPM.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like across the board. It's almost like identical. Every single channel is up by almost exactly between 30 and 40% in terms of views.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And then, but then, you know, by the same token, exactly like we said, CPMs, like ad rates, they're all down by about the same amount. So everyone's revenue is kind of like rock steady.
It's kind of funny. But yeah, so for the people that don't know, the CPMs is how much you get paid per 1,000 views, basically. So if you have increased views but a lower CPM, then you're not necessarily making heaps more or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
35%'s a big increase in viewership though. Like you think about like the kids must be having a little bit of a chill time.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess you think about it, like if everyone's locked up at home, you would expect people to watch like 30% more videos, you know, than if they're 100%. At work. Like, if anything,
my screen time is not looking good right now.
Yeah, I mean, my screen time's always been bad, but no, but so yeah, it's. I mean, I'd say those articles are pretty correct. You know, YouTube's like it's a good spot to be. Ad rates are down, views are up, but you know, overall, it all kind of cancels out.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see like what's happened in YouTube land with everything corona, because for me, like I was kind of worried that my work might be impacted a bit. I work a lot with like brands and that sort of thing to help them do influencer campaigns basically. And I was worried that like, oh gosh, no one's going to be spending any money because obviously marketing's not like an essential expense compared to other expenses that brands might have. And I feel like there was like a couple weeks of it being pretty quiet and then suddenly it's just like really picked up. And this weekend was completely nuts. I feel like I've slept like 8 hours over the whole last 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw it put really well by I think the CEO of FaZe in that article. He was saying, you know, the total capital in advertising, like the total spend has gone down, but the ways for companies to deploy that capital for them to spend that ad spend has gone down even more by like an even bigger margin. True. So it's like, even though, you know, if you look at the industry as a whole, the amount of money getting spent on advertising is way, way down. Like, people aren't buying billboards anymore because no one's outside. People aren't, you know, TV shows, like a lot of new TV shows can't film, so they're not spending there. Like, all these ways that a lot of that ad spend would get spent can no longer get spent. So a lot of it's going into what can, which is YouTube.
It's actually nuts. You think about it. It's like, why would anyone buy a billboard right now? Literally.
I was actually thinking that the other day. I wonder if I could get some crazy billboard for like mad cheap, just for like, you know, so I can take a photo of a big billboard, you know, with my face on it or something. That would actually be
hilarious.
Yeah.
I reckon you could. I really reckon you could.
Yeah, I got to look into it.
You should do it. Get like Times Square.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. No. You could get bargains in Times Square right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, for real. That's actually so true though. Ad spend probably is down, but people just can't spend it in the ways that they used to. Even movies, like apparently so many movies are not being released for, you know, everything has literally been put on hold in traditional entertainment because no one can go do it. No one's filming TV shows.
Yeah, no,
They had to pull the people out of Big Brother house early.
Yeah.
Imagine being the guys in Big Brother and learning about coronavirus when you're in the house.
There was that clip of like the German Big Brother house or something, and they weren't told until like right when it got to absolute crazy levels. And yeah, it was like watching them like speculate about what was going on, because there was like no more live audience when they did evictions and weird stuff like that, and they were trying to figure out what was happening. And it was
wait, they were doing live evictions and not explaining why there wasn't a live audience?
Yeah. Exactly. And everyone was like, I wonder why this could be happening. Maybe it's like a secret. They were like, oh, it could be a secret double eviction week or something like that. I was like, either that or it's the apocalypse, whichever one.
A double eviction. Yeah, that must be it.
Yeah.
That would be bizarre. Like, what would you think? What would you think? I mean, it's such an unusual event. Like, if you were in the house.
Well, it's like that old meme where, you know, it's like, you've just woken up after a coma after like 8 years and you hope that everything's okay, and then you find out that crazy stuff. Like, that would literally be what it is for them. Like, you go into the house, everything's totally normal. Maybe you heard about the tail end of some little thing going on in Wuhan, and then you come out of the house and like the whole world's on fire and everyone's like locked indoors and can't move anywhere. Like, I mean, they were basically in free quarantine though, so...
Yeah, it's actually probably a super safe spot to be.
They basically signed up for quarantine before quarantine even started.
But yeah, this weekend, back to what I was saying, was basically working on like a huge campaign with this app called House Party. And it's actually a great app for right now. Like, we were on it playing with Ilsa and Tanner the other night, and it was so much fun. But yeah, they like brands like that, I think, have just realized that it's like now is their time to shine. Like, apparently House Party's been a thing for the past 3 years, and it's been kind of just like toddling along. Like, I'd never heard of it before a month ago probably, and then suddenly it's like Corona time, everyone is hitting it hard, and they're like, This is our time to shine. We must go hard on marketing right now.
Yeah. And did you see, though, they had some really weird, like 99%, it was like a big, like, it was like some crazy conspiracy that was not true. But there was that rumor going around that House Party, like, hacked into all your apps, which is, like, ridiculous because it's owned by Epic Games. It's not a dodgy company. I mean, you know, people are going to say that Epic Games is part owned by companies in China, whatever. But, like, the point is, there was, like, these crazy conspiracies that like, oh, if you download House Party, it sells the passwords for all your apps. And it's like, that's not how apps work.
Do you know how they responded to that?
Yeah, they put out like $1 million bounty, right? If someone came to them with evidence. I loved it.
I was like, an app putting out a bounty. We are truly living in wild times. They were like, we will pay anyone that can prove that they've been hacked $1 million.
Yeah.
I was like, what time are we living in?
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently, and apparently then they're accusing that it's one of their competitor apps that's trying to like slander them. I was like, holy shit.
No. Yeah, I think it was $1 million if you can prove that one of our competitors started this as like a malicious rumor.
You would think the apps would be doing fine, but they're the first to go down.
Yeah.
Corona time and everything's letting loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely like, an interesting time because, you know, I worked with a heap of creators on that one over the weekend. And I think people a few weeks ago were feeling hesitant, like whether or not it's a good time to be doing brand campaigns and that sort of thing. And I feel like where it's a good fit, you know, where it's a brand like House Party,
yeah,
it's like that totally makes sense. I think if it was a brand, like you think about brands like Coke, you know, we were saying how Coke's whole line is like share a Coke.
Share a Coke, and it's like
just like, oh, not
let's
the time.
take a
not the
pause
time.
on marketing for now.
For real. Like, imagine coming out with a share a Coke campaign during Corona.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
please
actually,
do not.
Yeah,
Please
just don't.
practice social distancing.
Yeah, just don't say anything. Just pretend that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pretend that it's not a thing at the moment.
There was actually like a bunch of influencers that were completely slammed though for doing some branded stuff.
Yeah.
And then influencers being shown to like capitalize off having Corona as well. Like there was this creator in New York. She runs like a very popular blog called Something Navy. And I think she lives in Manhattan, got diagnosed with Corona.
Yeah.
And then drove to their house in the Hamptons, like their mansion in the Hamptons, and then is like posting photos with her kids being like quality time with my family, and you can like see her nanny in the background, and it just did not go down well. She had to like issue a whole apology. It's so hard. It's like, I think it's a challenging time being a creator, like knowing how to play those situations.
I mean, there's all those things, right? I feel like it's just like if you're in a privileged position when the whole world is going through the biggest crisis of anyone's lifetime, you know, you should be conscious of that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's always, I think that's just like the default as a YouTuber. Like before you make any complaint, you need to like check yourself, you know, and
then check yourself again.
Yeah, like the whole like Ellen being like, it's like being stuck in prison. Meanwhile, she's in her like $400 million mansion with like 8 butlers, and he's just like, you know,
people hated it. The hate train was strong for Helen after that.
Yeah, but like justifiably as well, you have to say.
Yeah. People do not want to hear it. But it was something I was thinking about. Like, what do you reckon about MrBeast content during this time? Because this is something I was thinking about, because he does so much content that is around spending money, and I think he does a pretty good job. He like obviously gives a lot of money away as well.
Yeah.
But even doing videos, like you look at his channel, how many videos he's done being like spending $100,000 in one day, spending $1 million in a day, like buying this person a car, or, you know, buying a whole store or whatever. What do you reckon about how he's going to handle that content right now?
Look, I think you can immediately tell he's smart. He's not dumb. He is so smart. The first video he did after, and I also think that people know that just generally MrBeast is he's already got enough of a reputation of doing
good intentions.
Yeah. And also, you know, I think even if he did have a total misfire of a video that was like spending $100,000 on Lambos, people aren't immediately, I think, with him gonna jump to, you're a dick, because even before this crisis happened, he had already done videos that was like giving away like $1 million to like charities and doing food trucks and all that kind of stuff, you know, like he's done that. He's like authentically someone who, you know, has done that quite regularly in the past. But even then, he's immediately, his first video after like lockdown started and stuff started getting hectic was, this is $1 million of food. We're giving it all away. We filled up all these food trucks. Epic.
Yeah.
And then like and the next video.
And it's on brand.
100%. It still hits the same thing. Lets him do the big money title, but it's actually for a good cause. Win-win. And then, you know, even after that, you know, he had the locked in a bunker one, where you know, it's once again, it's still a MrBeast style video where it's like spending 24 hours doing X or doing Y. You know, he's got the two titles. He's got the money title, and then he's got the time title. And the money titles are one, and then the like who can stay in the circle the longest or who can, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then he literally was playing off the fact that Corona is happening, not in a bad way, but doing a doomsday video. Like he's smart. He knows how to, I mean, and I don't mean this at all in a bad way. He knows how to capitalize off the situation in a positive way, which not that he's like being like, oh, this is a great opportunity to make money, but in the sense that he's like, okay, how do I keep my content going, make it relevant for what everyone's going through right now, and also not look like an asshole.
Yeah. I think capitalize is not the right word.
Yeah, capitalize is not the right word. Yeah, that sounds too aggressive.
It's probably more, it's literally more like just adapt.
Yeah.
And that honestly is easier said than done, because for him, his content is so freaking huge every episode. Like, you think about how many people it must take to shoot those episodes. I guarantee you it's like definitely more than 10, probably like up to 20 sometimes. And being able to pivot from that when you do so much big scale IRL content and then suddenly you literally have to social distance and you can't go outside is not easy. And I reckon, he's done a really good job. But I think it'll be interesting to see what videos he does upload over the next few weeks, because I doubt it will be anything with money in the title, unless it's something where he's giving it away. Because I just feel like, even though I think he's sensitive and he gives money to certain people, like buying someone a house and that sort of thing, people just don't want to see any hint of reckless spending right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they are just not in the mood. Like the public perception on that is just not a thing.
If you were to do like giving a pizza guy a house right now, people's response is going to be, you could have spent that money on divvying it up between 1,000 people who need that money, which is not wrong. I think it's like, it's exactly what you said. Right now, people don't want to see reckless spending. They don't want to see crazy flexing. They don't want to see, which, is normally a big thing on YouTube. Definitely people don't want to see that right now. And I think they, more than ever, I think there's always been very much a sense of, when YouTubers and people in that position like complain about their situation, there's normally pushback already being like, hey, you're in a lucky spot, chill. But I think now more than ever, there's very much like no, like seriously, you are in a just like
I mean, I think it's a tough time to be an influencer in general. Actually, stop.
Yes,
I do not want to say it's gonna.
It is tough.
It is not a tough time. No, it's not a tough time to be an influencer. Just to make that really clear. But it's an interesting period where I think people previously liked looking at influencers because there was some sort of like aspiration element to it, or people like lifestyle content, like less so gaming, but people love following people on Instagram that are like eating at cool places, that are shopping at cool places, that are traveling to cool places that they don't usually get to go. And now obviously that's like not the case, and nor do people want to see that. So I just think it's like, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few months and how that goes.
Yeah, I think if there's one genre of YouTube where it's easy to keep going relatively uninterrupted, it's gaming, because you're just playing games. If I was like a travel vlogger, or like, I haven't even actually looked what a lot of other channels are doing, but what those people are doing right now, that would be so hard, because it's like, you can't travel. B, the stuff that those channels would do at home was normally like crazy stuff that was like buying a Lamborghini and hitting it with a hammer, like just really, really just dumb
Who's doing
thing.
That?
Logan Paul, probably. I don't know. But like, the point is, you can't do that now, because you no longer get people being like, oh, wow, dude, this guy's ratchet. Being like, wow, this man's really financially irresponsible. Someone could use that money.
Yeah. People need to like adapt, but adapt smart.
Yeah, I think MrBeast is a good example of that.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about Quibi, because I know you haven't been on this as much, but I want to talk about Quibi because I am fascinated, and I think I'm going to watch it fail over the next few months. I don't want to call it too early, but I feel like maybe they're doomed.
You know what it feels like a little bit to me? It reminds me of Tidal. Like, is Tidal still dead? Is that,
I think it's a thing.
Is it
I think it's a thing, but maybe let's
maybe
backtrack.
That's not a good example.
Let's just backtrack 1 second. So Quibi is a mobile video service that came out last week. And basically their selling point is that they have short form video content. It's like 6 to 10 minute videos. It's super highly produced. Well, it's very highly produced compared to YouTube. And they have this technology where you can turn your mobile from vertical to horizontal and the video still stays the same. And it only
doesn't, though. I
mobile.
don't get that. It crops the video. They're like saying you watch it.
Well, it has to crop it.
Yeah.
But it's meant to make it more like an easy viewing experience.
Yeah, I think the way to say it is they've shot the videos so that you can view them vertically. And if you cut off the left and right side of frame, normally the critical things to see aren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically they launched a week ago. They had $1.7 billion in funding.
I could use $1.7 billion.
That is so much money. And then they had a $400 million marketing budget. This is no small thing. It's run by two people, both in their 60s, late 60s, I believe.
Hashtag
and they're
in touch
basically,
with the kids.
yeah, and they're basically trying to have their app appeal to the younger generation. So it's appealing to people that don't have time to sit down and watch like a 40-minute show. It's Quibi. It's quick bites. Apparently that's what it stands for. It's like when you're on the train or when you're in between a meeting or you're traveling somewhere or whatever, and you just have time for like a 6 to 10 minute video, which is ironic given that nobody is on trains right now and nobody is traveling everywhere. And
yeah, they picked the wrong time. People do have time right now for those. People are like, I need longer shows.
People are like, I have finished Netflix.
Yeah.
Please feed me more. But yeah, I think basically, one, you're right, tough time to release a short form content app. But two, I'm just not convinced. Right now, it's free for anyone for the first 90 days if you sign up. After that, I think it's $5 if you want to watch it with ads, $8 without ads, which is still kind of a lot to pay for seeing ads.
Yeah. I feel like there's this thing that's been established in like online entertainment, which is with ads is free, with paid is without ads. Like that seems to be the two things. You know, you look at Spotify. You can get Spotify for free. You get ads. You pay. You don't get ads. Same with Netflix, Stan, everything.
Yeah. So I have a few issues that I want to unpack with Quibi. And I want to put it out there. I'm ready to be proven wrong with this stuff. I love seeing new platforms. I want to see everyone succeed. But also, I just feel like there's a few things that are majorly out of touch here. And one of them is the fact that it is on mobile and it is only on mobile. You cannot Chromecast. You can't cast. You can't look at it on a desktop. You can't even, I think you can download it on a tablet, but it's not really optimized for a tablet. It's literally mobile only. And I just don't get why an app would limit themselves in that way. I feel like they've been like, okay, kids are on mobile, therefore we're on mobile, and we're not going to compromise on that.
Yeah. I think a weird thing, which I feel like I see a lot of companies do these days, is they identify a niche that exists, and they're not wrong that niche exists, but then they develop something exclusively to like just focus on that niche and be totally uncompromising for everything else. So like, you know, are they wrong that people do have moments between meetings where they want to watch something that's 10 to 20 minutes long on their phone? Absolutely, yes. But when there are so many subscription services out there, people want to invest in ones that can, you know, cover as many bases as possible. And the thing is, Netflix, I can watch on my phone, and I can choose to watch a little 15-minute episode of Rick and Morty if I have a 15-minute gap that I'm looking to fill. But also, for that same subscription price, I can go home, I can watch a long movie on my TV, I could get halfway through watching a TV show on my phone, then Chromecast it to my TV when I get back home. I have options, I have choice, I can watch it, you know, in whatever way I want.
See, I reckon you hit it on the head right there when you're like, I have options and choice. Because for me, I feel like the reason they've been like, people are on mobile is it's because people are on mobile because they want to feel like they can watch content anywhere. And it just so happens that people are on their mobile a lot. But if you tell someone this is how you have to watch something, people hate that. And I feel like that's why people gravitated towards things like YouTube in the first place, because it's not telling them where and when they have to watch any content. It's like, here's the content. You can watch it wherever, whenever you want. And Quibi, it's like saying, hey, we know you want short form content on mobile. Here is short form content on mobile, and we're not giving you anything else. And I just feel like people hate it when they're not given the option to watch what they want.
And I also think that more and more with like more and more things moving to be subscription services, I think people are becoming a lot more conscious of the subscription services they have. Like, you know, I think it was like back in the day when it was just Netflix and Spotify, it was like, okay, Netflix, Spotify. Then it was like, okay, now you've got all these other streaming services that are competitors to Netflix. And then you're like, okay, maybe I'll subscribe to 2 of them. But the more that come, you're not just instantly like, oh, it's $5 a month for content, I'm going to go for it. You know, it's kind of like, I'm already spending like 30, 40 a month on these other subscriptions. Do I really want to do another one? Do I need it? No, I already have so much content here. I don't know. And I think, you know, for example, I just think the only thing that they have that these other streaming services don't have is that whole like watch vertically thing, which
feels like a gimmick.
It is a gimmick. It does, like when it's like vertical watching technology, it's like, no, you just crop it. You've literally, like, there's no technology behind it. It is a fact. If you were displaying a video in a thinner space, the video will be thinner.
It is a fact.
We
have no idea if this is a fact or not.
No, it is a fact. There's no way to technology yourself around the fact that if you're cropping a video, the video is cropped. That's just a fact. Yeah. That is how space and time works. But, like, the only thing they've done is they have filmed videos so that they can be displayed and viewed more easily in vertical. But, like, if I'm on my phone, I don't, like, why am I going to get a crappy viewing experience watching like this when I could get the full thing watching like that? It doesn't matter to me if I'm holding it on the side versus vertical. Like,
yeah.
I don't.
The only reason I was like, okay, maybe it would be cool is if you can flick between apps and still have it playing in the background, but you can't. Yeah. And then I was like, why is anyone going like this to this if they have to be watching it all? Anyway, my next point is, they have not enabled you to screenshot or screen record anything on the app. And to me, this is the number one factor why it shows that the people behind this do not get it. They don't get it. They literally don't get the audience they're appealing to. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. I get it why maybe you don't want screen records because you're worried about copyright or people stealing your content or whatever. But screenshots? Do you not want memes? Do you not want to be memed online? Like, this like literally irks me so much because you look at like, why does everyone know what Tiger King is? Literally, why does everyone know what Tiger King is?
I just tested. I can screenshot Netflix. I didn't know that. I actually thought Netflix blocked it as well, but apparently not.
No, but like you think about Tiger King, there is literally so many memes on Tiger King. There's like sounds on... Yeah, but like, how do you know that song?
Husband, whack. I can't get it out of my head. Like... It's in my fucking head. I can't get it out.
Do you know the dance though?
Oh God, no. I've seen it.
But like, I just reckon that's so critical these days because I think there are so many people that probably watched Tiger King because they saw all the Tiger King memes. They saw the bloody Carol Baskin TikTok dance and they were like, what am I missing out on? Therefore, I'm going to go watch it. That's
missing out on the wildest ride of your life, let me tell you. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just one of those weird things where it's like, it sounds like very traditional media where it's like, we must have full ownership and restriction on everything, nothing for free, not even a screenshot of our show. And it's like, I get what you mean, but also no, you know, like, yeah. It's like, you're dumb if you think that anyone who is actually really, really keen to like pirate your content, they'll do it. There are other options out there. I can literally...
My thing would be, if people are pirating your content and wanting to screenshot stuff, you're doing something right. Like, that is a good thing. Let them do it. Let them steal your content because it will bring people back. I just like, I'm so firm on that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm trying to see how many downloads it has.
You want me to tell you? Day one, guess how many downloads they had? Just guess. Just throw a number out there with a $400 million marketing budget.
1 million.
No. Less.
How many?
300,000. They came third to fucking Zoom.
Oh God, not
Zoom beat them.
Oh.
And House Party, I think. But like, imagine you have a 400 million marketing budget, and on your launch day, you lose to Zoom. To Zoom.
Yeah, they
Oh my God. To me, that is a colossal failure.
Especially when it's 3 months free, dude. So I'm looking on Android right now. On Android right now, they have only, and this is after they've been live for what, like a week or something? Like a week or so? They have 500,000 downloads, which you might be like, 500,000, that's okay. Keep in mind, that is with the ridiculous marketing spend. So if you were to put, I don't know if they've spent all their marketing yet. Let's say they spent 200 million of the 400 million, which they probably have. It's a launch budget. Then they've literally spent, I can't do math right now. They spent a lot of money per install, okay? I haven't had my coffee yet.
I calculated it at like $1,600 per install.
That's I don't think that math's right.
Really?
No.
On their launch day?
Well, if they've got 500K, it would be, and they spent 200 million, it would be 400 a download. Right?
Disregard our maths. Either way,
yes,
it's
the
way
point
too much.
is they're not getting return on investment. And also keep in mind the fact that right now you get the first 3 months of this thing for free. They're not making $1 on any of those people. And let's say even, I don't know, maybe we're speaking too soon. Maybe like they, like, I think really, you know what they need if they want this app to be successful? They need a Carol Baskin. They need to find some show that people are obsessed with. If they do like Tiger King, the sequel, you know, and it's only available on Quibi, then it's like, ooh, okay, maybe you're going to pull people over for that. Maybe.
None of the shows are that good. None of the shows are that good.
I opened it and I was like, yes, this seems like a bunch of generically approved Hollywood scripts. You know?
Do you know what it feels like? It kind of feels like YouTube Red. And to me, I already have a YouTube Premium subscription. So I just don't know why I'd pay for it. And also, I feel like YouTube Premium worked out that those super scripted high production value shows didn't work that well. Because for me, I think if you're watching a 6 to 10 minute video, you need to be able to connect really quickly with the people behind the video. And I think when there's too many layers of production, you just can't do that. I think that's why YouTube works so well, because it's so raw. Yeah. And you watch it and you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm connecting with this person. It's just me and the camera between them. Yeah. And I just think it's a little out of touch. And I think maybe if you had some YouTubers doing really cool shows on Quibi, like that could be a thing. But again, I just don't get why. Yeah, like literally call us, Quibi. Happy to
after we've talked shit about your app for the past 20 minutes, but like, give us a ring.
It's because I want apps to succeed. I just think there's like small things. But yeah, for me, I just don't really see the difference between what I'm getting there versus what I'm already getting with a YouTube Premium account, except I'm getting way more content and I'm not getting any ads. Yeah. For almost literally the same price. So I don't know. Prove us wrong. I hope to see you succeed, Quibi, but for some reason I feel like maybe we won't. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's talk about it. Valorant.
Woohoo! My favorite topic.
How's it been playing Valorant?
I haven't played it because they don't have servers in Australia. Yeah. Dude. We love being from this country. It's weird. I mean, like off the offset, them not having Aussie servers seems weird. I understand them being really hands-on with, you know, kind of like all the content, like all the servers and everything they're doing with the game right now. But, you know, and it's easy for me, like you have Riot servers in Australia for League, like just make the servers for Valorant. I guess they could argue that they're being like, you know, super strict about how they want the servers set up and they want everything to be perfect. But long story short, let's talk about the actual interesting part, because people who aren't Australian probably don't care that we don't have servers.
It's popping.
It is popping. The hype behind that game is unreal. And yeah, I mean, like you can go onto Twitch at like any moment of the day.
Do you feel like you're missing out?
I mean, like, not really. Like, personally, I don't think the hype behind Valorant is really a reflection of how good Valorant is as a game. Not that I think it's a bad game. Savage. I think it's more a reflection of just the fact that right now there's like nothing. They're especially for like people who are competitive. It's like,
Mm.
hey, Fortnite competitive. People are like, seriously, if Fortnite didn't have money behind it, that game is competitive scene would be way more dead than it is. It's like artificially propped up. CSGO, yeah, like CSGO competitive's doing good, but it's like the same thing. We've seen it for ages. The MOBAs, the League of Legends, they're all just ticking along. Nothing's changed in ages. This is the first game that's come out in a very, 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 very long time where people have kind of been like, oh, wow, okay, this is like the next big esport. Like it is. People are saying, umming and ahhing, being like, oh, you can't make a game in esport. It's going to be an esport. It's clearly designed to be an esport. People who don't think that are crazy. But the point is that, you know, right now it's just had the biggest launch of all time. And it's because, and this is
Bigger
the thing,
than Apex?
100% bigger than Apex. And I think and you know, and this is what I think makes it so interesting. Apex had a huge launch. You know what they also had? A huge marketing budget. You know how much Valorant has spent on influencers, as far as I'm aware, and I'm pretty sure this figure is accurate? 0. They don't spend on influencers because they've done the way more genius thing. They have that closed beta access. And then there's this beautiful little ecosystem life cycle known as Twitch drops, which is you can only get access to the beta. You can only get a beta key by watching people stream the game, which is
so smart.
It's actually this genius concept. And I reckon
Who
actually
came up with this?
Twitch.
Who started doing this first?
Twitch, absolutely. But like, here's what I want to know. I want to know if Twitch charges for it. I want to know if Twitch says, hey, Valorant, we'll pair with you and we'll do drops. But
wait, you can only do it on Twitch?
Yeah. Because it's
YouTube?
like no. It's like an integrated system within
Really?
Twitch. Yeah. So you link your Riot account to your Twitch account. Then Twitch basically will pick accounts at random that have their Riot account linked and give them access to the game. So it creates this beautiful feedback loop.
I didn't even think that. Yeah.
Where normally you would have to get you'd have to pay a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer money to play your game. Especially on launch when people are kind of expecting it. But Valorant's like, oh, no, we're not going to pay you. But we will, if you're lucky and you play ball with us, we will enable drops on your stream. And if they enable drops on your stream, your viewership will increase by a multiple of 10. You'll go from someone like Summit, who would normally stream to like 30, 40K people. You're streaming to 200, 250K people. I think he hit like 400K at one point. Like absolutely just wild numbers. And then the YouTube, all the Twitch streamers, they want to play it. And that's all they're going to play because the viewership that it brings and then the money it brings from their community from that is crazy. And then the feedback loop goes even bigger because for Valorant, not only do they now have all these big YouTubers playing it, the viewership numbers for the game as a category on Twitch are just blowing everything else out of the water because whether or not everyone in that stream is an actual engaged viewer or how many of them are just people VPNing with multiple accounts, it doesn't matter. Companies will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their game as the current most viewed game on Twitch. Like a lot of companies around launch, they'll try and coordinate several big Twitch streamers to all go live with it at the same time so that all the viewers stack up and they become the most viewed game on the platform because then more people are like, oh, what's this most viewed game? We want to go watch it. And it's like a constant feedback loop. So with this, what essentially they've achieved with Twitch drops is all the Twitch streamers are doing it all for free. It's getting insane exposure because they're all doing it for free and because the viewership numbers are getting pumped up because of the drops. And then on top of that, you've then got all people writing articles about what is this game that's currently taking over Twitch. These viewership numbers are insane.
Yeah.
They literally hit the most viewed game category of all time. I think it was League of Legends Worlds, where it hit like 1.1 million views. Valorant, when it launched at beta, just with a bunch of random streamers playing it, was 50,000 off being the most viewed game, like total viewership count at any time, just because people were trying to farm those beta keys. Like
I had a couple numbers and at low tide, so at its lowest point since people have been playing it, it had over 800,000 concurrent viewers. And at its peak, it had more than double that with 1.7, which is tying the Twitch records for most concurrent viewers ever.
Yeah, 100%. And
it's nuts.
And like going on it now, like, yeah, the viewership's down, but it still has 700,000 people watching it.
That's crazy.
Which is just like, you wouldn't see that during, or you might see that during like the Fortnite World Cup. Maybe.
So what about Dr. Disrespect? Did you see that drama?
I saw the drama. I didn't read into it enough to know.
So the drama was that he was apparently lying about having drops enabled. So what you were just saying about like getting those massive viewership because you have drops. Yeah. What do you reckon?
So
like,
basically what happened,
or was it for real?
Well, I think there's more context you need, because I'd love to know if it was a mistake or not. Basically, that, all the big streamers had drops enabled. People were able to, get codes for the game by, watching a live streamer play it. And Dr. Disrespect was one of them. You could get codes by watching his stream. Then the devs basically came out and said, whoa, okay, we had like way more influx than we thought. We have to temporarily disable drops for a day just while we like get the servers caught up with the player base. He kept his title on drops enabled, even though drops weren't. So my only part where I cut him slack is I wonder if like he just didn't get that news flash, or whether it was malicious. I don't know. If it was, deliberate, then obviously, yes, that's a dick move and he shouldn't have done it. That's a fact. But yeah.
So he actually put out a statement on this.
Oh, he did?
And
okay, see, I don't know this.
His statement said, I have a statement to say. There is a lot of people that were upset that I had drops enabled in my stream title last weekend. I should probably step up and be a man about the situation. A lot of people were upset about it. News outlets picked it up, he begun. He then delivered an official statement to those upset by his actions. I would like to put out an official response. I don't give a fuck.
I was going to say, I am not expecting him to come out with it's literally like, what's his name?
He continued, you're looking at the best in the business, baby. You think I give a fuck? Holy shit.
Oh my God.
He then named his next broadcast Drops.
I was literally like, I'm on his stream right now and it's Drops.
That is so funny.
I was going to say, that's like?
Fuck it.
That's like, what's his name? The MMA guy, the MMA champion. What's his name? Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like after he won his second championship, he came out and he was like, I just want to take this time to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody. The two-time does what he wants. Like, yeah. Like,
I love that. I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of shit people get so annoyed about these days. And it's just like,
I think it is fair. Like, I think it's fair. Like, I think if you're, if you're, you shouldn't like lie about that. I think that's totally fair. It's like, if it was an honest mistake, you'd be like, whatever. But obviously, if it was malicious, that's kind of a dick move, but it's also very on brand in the way that he dealt with it.
I think it's funny. I think good for him.
Yeah. No, it is. It's definitely funny.
All right, guys. I feel like that just about wraps us up for today. We will see you guys next week. Remember to like, subscribe, follow the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a review if you can, because it really makes a difference for helping other people find it. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.